Presented by Grey Goose. Please enjoy responsibly.
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. We are back from Thanksgiving break, Tony. I just spend it.
I am Tony Kornheiser. I thought about leaving for LSU, but I'm staying here.
I could have gone differently. You could have around. Yeah. If you'd mentioned you were leaving for somewhere else.
But as I heard someone say, I prayed on it.
Oh,
and that's
okay.
what happened. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Lane Kiffin leaves Ole Miss for LSU. Wilbon's Bears run over the Eagles, and the Broncos barely beat the Commanders. But we begin today with yesterday's NFL action. There were two results that raised an eyebrow or two. One was the Carolina Panthers beating Los Angeles Rams 31-28, which opened the door to the number one seed in the NFL. This was the bigger surprise.
Yeah, you know, neither of these was actually a surprise to me because in my pool.
You had them both.
Yeah. And
I'm stunned.
Carolina. It shocked you yesterday.
Yeah, no, stunned. That's stunned.
But it's still Carolina because even as I'm watching it and sort of cheering for it to happen, not that I hate the Rams, that's an upset. The Rams had won 6 in a row. They had gone into the week. They started the holiday weekend with everybody proclaiming they were the best team in football, if there was such a thing. Tony, I didn't think that about Houston and Indy. I thought that was a toss-up, a pick-em going into the day. But when you see Carolina, look, Carolina's done this a few times now. 5-1 after losses, which is the best record in the NFL.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Carolina.
Carolina.
I had, look, I've been sleeping, as they say, on Carolina because I thought they stunk.
Most people have.
I've been sleeping, too, on their quarterback, Bryce Young, who I thought was too small for the league. He's not too small for the league.
How about those 2 fourth down plays where he tosses touchdowns?
And the coach of that team clearly knows what he's doing. Did they run the ball? They ran the ball
like 40 times.
I don't know, 40 times. I don't know how they lost to the Saints, but they have now beaten Green Bay and the Rams. They are 7-6. They were 4-13 last year, 2-15 the year before. So much like New England, they've come out of nowhere. That is the biggest surprise. I could try to make the case on Houston beating Indianapolis in Indy, but you also have to say that Indianapolis has now lost 3 out of 4. Yeah. They appear to be fading, and Jonathan Taylor's not getting the chunk yards that he got before. He had, 85 yards on 21 carries. And Daniel Jones played on a broken leg, which is not ideal. It's not ideal in that situation. Houston has now won 4 in a row. 3 of them with a backup quarterback. So what happened yesterday is C.J. Stroud made a good team better. But yes, the answer is the Rams. As you know, I had Matthew Stafford as the MVP. He was 29 touchdowns, no interceptions in his most recent run.
At some point, both the streak, 6 in a row, and that crazy streak of touchdowns without interceptions,
29-0.
They gotta come to an end.
Twice in the first quarter?
Yeah.
What I'm saying to you is when that happens twice in the first quarter, and then there's that fumble late, that critical fumble late, that is shocking to me. I expected them to win. Expected.
Nobody in this league this year is so good that we just presume correctly that they just keep winning.
No.
Right?
No. There's either no great team or there's 15 good ones.
Scare me about my situation pretty soon.
Yeah.
Let's move from Sunday's surprises to those from the extended holiday weekend. Dak threw for 320 yards.
Give him his money.
As the Cowboys top the Chiefs. The Bengals' last-place defense forced the Ravens into 5 turnovers as Cincinnati beat Baltimore in Joe Burrow's return. And the Bears ran over and through the heavily booed and heavily favored Eagles. Maybe it was heavily favored and heavily booed. Tony, which of these results most surprised you?
So the biggest surprise is that the Bears, at the moment, are the number 1 seed in the NFC. Nobody saw this coming, especially you, who said before the season we could start out 0-5.
Yeah.
Beating the Eagles is impressive. Running on them is impressive. But, there's something wrong with the Eagles right now. They have no offense.
No, they don't.
Saquon Barkley, they are not. So the reason that is not the biggest surprise is because the Bears are 9-3. I mean, you cannot just automatically assume that they're not going to win that game. A bigger surprise is Cincinnati beating Baltimore. Joe Burrow essentially came out of a hospital bed and beat this team.
He practiced.
He threw the ball, 46 times. He had 2 touchdowns rather. On the other side, Lamar Jackson, in the last 3 games, has no touchdown passes. He has 3 interceptions. He has 2 fumbles lost, and he's been sacked 8 times. Weeks ago, you said on this air you thought he had lost a step. In the interim, he seems to have lost another step. But the biggest surprise is the Dallas Cowboys. Let's be honest about that. No,
they were proclaimed by every show on this network.
Mike, in the span of 5 days, they now beat the 2 teams that were in the Super Bowl last year, the Eagles and the Chiefs. And Mike, they may have knocked the Chiefs out of the playoffs.
Well, we're going to see more about the Chiefs, even more. I mean, the game's coming up this weekend, but that's a few days away. Let me go back to this weekend. Tony, it was the Bears. Because I've lived with this intimately. Nobody thought the Bears were any damn good.
At the beginning of the year?
No, nobody thought this week.
Oh,
because if you listen to all the shows coming out of the previous Sunday into Monday, they all people proclaimed Hall of Famers. People with gold jackets sat and said
8-3
the
team.
Bears aren't good.
Going into this game, they were 8-3.
Every one of those games was by a hangnail, something that shouldn't have happened.
That's what Kansas City did last year. When they were
the
11-0, but they were 11-0 in one-score games.
Yeah, they were against teams that were threats. The Bears have beaten some last place
You're
teams.
just promoting the Bears because they're your team.
Look. I'm scared about this whole thing.
Of course you are.
Because it seems like it was
scared
just
they're going
paper.
into Green Bay. You're scared.
They went into Philly and kicked
They did.
their
they did.
what.
They did.
And that was great. So I don't want to hear about Philly's offense. We ran through Philly's defense.
I just want to talk about Dallas for a second. I think you give them short shrift. When Jerry Jones dumped Micah Parsons, everybody in the world said they won't win another game. He has destroyed the team. You, among others, and everybody said it. Well, Jerry traded for a couple of defenders, too.
He did.
And now their defense, while not great, is adequate. And their offense is more than adequate because Dak Prescott throwing to C.D. Lamb and George Pickens, that's a threat every place on the field. What if they beat Detroit this week? What if they go through those 3 teams in a row? What would you think then?
I'll be shocked. They would threaten the Eagles for the division, and I'd be shocked at that. Let me just start saying stuff now. Since every other network show just sits around proclaiming crazy stuff all week long, usually starting on Monday, let me proclaim something. The Detroit Lions are going to stuff your Dallas Cowboys.
Not my Dallas
you're
Cowboys.
cheering for them.
Not cheering for them.
You think they can go?
I'm asking you to consider what they have done lately. What they have done
that
lately.
5-day stretch was tremendous. Thursday night in Detroit, beat down.
Let's move to the biggest story in college football this past weekend. Lane Kiffin jumping from Ole Miss to conference rival LSU. Ole Miss is 11-1 and surely headed for the college playoffs. Ole Miss has barred Kiffin from coaching this team in the playoffs, even though Kiffin publicly said he wants to. Ole Miss has said, tell it walking, pal. Wilbon, what do you make of everyone's decisions here?
Lane Kiffin has every right to go to LSU or wherever he wants to work. And Mississippi had better say, get the hell out. This is an acrimonious divorce. Get out. You are not going to spend the next 6 weeks, if you go that far, because you can win in the playoffs.
That's right.
Splitting your time, your emotions, your devotion, and your loyalty between LSU and Mississippi. Because anybody who thinks that LSU's people